I need to see what I'm seeing.
Okay. I'll be watching.
Great. I don't know about this transfer. I can't tell. Hello. All right, you all, that took a lot of effort. I want to tell you. Let me get back here. There we go. A lot of effort. I don't know. I hope to heaven we're streaming or doing something. But that took a lot of effort. And I'll tell you in a minute what it was all like, the two pieces of music and what we did, how we spent a good part of the day, which I think is very interesting for us. Okay, my husband's in the other room manning the chat. Let me turn this fan down. Happy 4th of July, everyone. And we celebrate the 4th of July in a very unusual way. As you know, I am, hi, Carolyn again, ecstatically happy to a Vietnam vet who was an officer in in the Navy during Vietnam. My father served in World War II, and I can't even go into all the campaigns and whatnot he did. And all I can tell you is that right up until the time I left for college for several years, and even when I came back before I left again, we would sit on the Sunday on the on the front porch every Sunday after church, and we would, weather permitting, because it was in Eastern New York, and we would talk about the war. He would tell me his war stories, and I want to tell you, it was not pretty. Okay, totally not pretty. I don't know who's here. B-Man is supposed to be handling the hi, how is everybody? I don't know who's here, who isn't here. You know, everybody's streaming, so you may catch this later. So if so, I have a chance to gussy up the first part. But it was very important to us. I have nephews and cousins and first cousins, brothers who were in all branches of the military. So the military is very close to our heart. My father-in-law, my husband's late father, was in the Army during World War I. Two, his grandfather was in the cavalry in World War II. One. And then he went back to two. Now, you know, we think of these things like who was in the military during Memorial Day. Here we think about all of the different holidays that revolve around our country and our freedom. And I would like to say something to everybody. You know, right now the media is active. I'll say active out there. I don't care if you're a liberal or if you're conservative or a libertarian or whatever you are. If you are a citizen of this country, somebody fought on the line for you. Somebody jumped out of an airplane. Somebody landed in enemy fire. Somebody dove in a foxhole. Somebody lived in trenches with, you know, go on here, YouTube, when I'm done. Call up the videos for World War I and see how those people lived. Soldiers lived in their trenches. It was awful. Somebody was out on the ocean. Somebody was at Pearl Harbor. Somebody is still at Pearl Harbor. The one ship, I believe, the Arizona. Probably, if I'm mistaken, please correct me. Which is, the men are still there. And the Marines, they're everywhere. And, you know, I want to say something. You know, we're so quick to say, oh, we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do that, we shouldn't do this, and we shouldn't be here, we shouldn't be there, and all this other stuff. That's all well and good. But July 4th, we celebrate our freedom from England. And it seems like we've been fighting ever since. And some of the wars and whatnot, you know, I don't want to get into controversy here about which ones were justified, which ones weren't. But what I want to say is, you need, before you start, blah, 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 okay, you need to stop and think about the men and the women that signed on the dotted line. And, you know, in their minds, they could have been thinking, oh, this was the worst mistake I could have ever made. Why on God's green earth are we going over there? Okay? Well, they don't have a choice. They go because they believe in this country. They believe in the flag. They believe in the Constitution. Yeah, I guess it's a good way to make money, but I'll tell you what. You have to have some amount, well, actually 100% of dedication and belief in this country to go. If you don't have it when you sign up, you'll find it along the way, okay? And I want to say also, for those of you who are watching, and this does fit in, for those of you that are watching the rescue of the 12 soccer players, ages 11 through 16 in Thailand. I have had the privilege of visiting Thailand for a good amount of time, and their coach. It was the Thai SEALs, and I understand our Navy SEALs are also there, but it was the Thai SEALs that made it through those caves to find them. Okay, and go on YouTube again and find out even what our SEALs have to go through. How many make it? How many don't? Why? I mean, it takes a lot of perseverance, something I can't even imagine. So I just want to say that, when I see a lot of things on the news, and I am a person of color, and I see the NFL players taking a knee, I understand what they're saying, but they really shouldn't say it then. Because up in the crowd are men and women who have lost limbs, who have lost fathers, who have lost sisters and brothers and uncles. And, in my family, one of my first cousins lost their identical twin. It doesn't get much harder than that. So you want to think about that. I mean, and they need to think about that. I mean, there's a way to demonstrate and there's a way not to. These people died for that. And if God help us if we ever reach the point where the red, white, and blue means nothing, and patriotism means nothing, the Constitution means nothing. And like I said, I've been to Canada, I've been to Thailand, I've been all over a couple other countries. It doesn't get much better than where we are. You don't, people are trying to get here, and there's a reason. There's a reason for that. We have our problems, we have our ups and downs, but at the end of the day, if you keep your nose to the grindstone, I mean, there might be some things you're going to accomplish and some things you don't, but it's a system that has been put in place that was based on freedom, based on pursuing freedom and religious freedom and freedom, basically, so that if you don't say the wrong thing, if you say the wrong thing, you're not going to be like Tommy Robinson over there in the UK. They don't have a First Amendment. It was not there. Doesn't work. So the songs, and this took me a lot of work. I mean, I put a lot of effort in. Then I'll get back to what my husband and I did for a great part of the day, which we do quite often. As most of you know, I am a real history person. I adore history. I love studying military strategy. There's nothing more interesting than military strategy. And if you want to know some of the best, go back to the Greeks, because some of our strategy from our military comes from there. It's a fascinating thing, military strategy. It really is. And I'll just leave it at that. It really is. And I know a lot of women are like, military strategy. Yeah, I like crafts, I like cooking, I like gardening, and something on that later. But I love military strategy. I love history. If it was not for geography, because I don't know north, south, east, and west, as most of you know, I have a compass in my purse. For that reason, let me see anybody. And so, that's what I do. I cannot tell, what am I doing here on desktop? Okay, because I don't know directions. Somebody will say to me, you go left, you go, I can understand left, right, this sort of thing. But north and northeast, and this will show you where you are. Oh, hi, there you all are. I didn't have my other thing on. Yes, good to see you, Christy, and all the rest of you. Whoever's here, whoever checks in, whoever doesn't, okay. This will stay up. So what I'm saying is I absolutely love history, and I would have majored in it as opposed to literacy had I been able to hunker down geography, but that was not going to work. So, but I still study it because I do believe that history does repeat itself in many, many ways. And I do believe that the leaders of all countries do study the history of other countries. Okay, believe it or not, but they do, to see, how the people react and yada, yada, yada. So the first song that you heard was Fife and Drum, and I love Fife and Drum music. And they were both no copyright. There's tons of no copyright on the internet for the 4th of July and other things like this. I just really like Fife and Drum. And of course, that was the big thing during the Revolutionary War. And that started the whole thing. Okay, that was it. England pushed us a little bit too far, and we thought, nah, we don't want to do that. And it's kind of more involved than what you think, but that started that. Okay, and we fought, and everybody was fighting. Everybody was fighting that war. The French were helping us. Some of you may not be aware of that. The French put up a blockade for us, things like that. But they didn't have too much love for the British. Okay, not at all. So they really helped us a lot. The Native Americans, we learned a lot of good strategies, military strategies from them. If you go back and look at, I believe it was Lexington in Concord, where they were coming after the weapons. The British were. This is, those colonists have too many weapons. Let's go get them. They're going to get rowdy or something. Well, at one point, the colonists decided, well, that was when Paul Revere said the British are coming and whatnot. But at one point, we didn't stand in a line like they did. So we adapted to what the Native Americans had taught us, and we just sent them home. Eventually, we won, and the whole story about the Declaration of Independence. One thing I found out recently that I thought was very interesting was that there were, I want to say 100, maybe 90 or so copies of the Declaration of Independence made back then and distributed among the people so that everybody, it could go from person to person. And I think they found one. My husband can tell you about that. Let's see what else. Moving on. So after the Revolutionary War, things were getting there. And lo and behold, here come the British again. The second piece of music I played was the last part of the about 16-minute long overture of the War of 1812 by I'm going to mess up his name. Whatever. That guy. I can see it, but I can't verbally say it. Anyway, I just played a small piece. And that was the War of 1812. Everybody was fighting in that war. Okay? And the British came back, and here we go again. And they also, something I didn't know, they had a pocket of Native Americans up near the Canadian border, which I personally wish they had left alone. But, I think the French attacked them. But it was a long battle. And basically, unless I stand corrected, the British just got tired. I mean, they had to take care of us. They had to take care of India. They had to take care of, what was it? Us, India. There was another one right on the tip of my tongue. Honey, which one was that? I should retract it. What's he retracting? Us, India, and there was another, I can't. South Africa. That was one. Oh, I'm live on Instagram, Carrie. I'm trying to think. Anyway, the British, they said the sun never sets on the British Empire. Well, it didn't. And if they had left us alone, I think we wouldn't have had a problem. I don't think we wouldn't have had a problem. We would have had a problem, but they wanted more and more and more. And I think they spread themselves too thin. And it can't be easy, maintaining all those empires, from what I see. And when you think about, some of these countries, the size of these countries like the UK and Germany, one of our states could swallow one, a larger state. So the United States is really something to behold. Like I said, we don't always get it right, but from where I'm sitting, it's still the best game in town. That's how I see it. I again say, at the end of the day, you may want to lighten up, especially if you're around military men or, well, I can't even say that. Just keep in mind that we have our freedom. Okay, we have our freedom because somebody signed on the dotted line and put their life on the line. And a lot of them didn't come back, and a lot of them came back, but never the same. Someone asked me once, they said, well, based on your family and your father and everybody else, somebody goes to war or even they join the military or whatnot, and they come back and they're going to integrate into society, how long does it take them? I'm going to tell you my answer. Never. Okay? That's what I see. That's been my personal experience with everybody I've known. They're changed. I can't. Everybody changes differently. Some of the changes are physical, which is just a shame. A lot it's emotional. A lot it's psychological. They just change, and you're not going to change them back, and you probably shouldn't want to, because they've seen things and they know things that we're never going to experience, and that's basically how it is. Any questions on my little speech about the 4th of July? And when we're done here, we're going to go out. We have some celebrating to do ourselves. Down the road, that way, they're getting revved up. They're having target practice and whatnot. Oh, yeah, they're having target practice, which is probably the cheapest thing. Over here, they're going to just go for it. They have all kinds of things over there. As you know, we're out here in the country. Nobody cares. During the revolution. Yeah. Oh, bees. Yes. B-Man was telling me during the Revolutionary War, there's a story of how bees actually did something in a battle. So that's, as I said, that's my speech about the 4th of July. Oh, what we did today, what we both do, like on days like this, is we spend hours. Not all of them, because, we have to take showers and eat and stuff like that. And we read either on YouTube or somewhere else, like about the battles and about different things. And then we'll come together and talk, and then we read. I find it fascinating. We have a radio station here that there's a 100-page letter that I can't think of his name, but I think if you Google 100-page letter, you may get it, of a man who was at the Battle of in Philadelphia. Honey, Philadelphia. Let me think. My brain. See, I'm thinking. Gettysburg, and he wrote a long letter detailing what was going on to his brother every day of that battle. And the whole letter ends up being 100 pages. He didn't make it. He was killed in another less significant battle. But yeah, it was just fascinating. It's just fascinating. And hi, Rebecca, good to see you. And you figure, so even the radio stations, they're reading the Constitution. We live in a very patriotic area. Thank you, God. Oh, jeez. I can't imagine living, I guess, we just happen to live in a very patriotic area where, people take their constitutional rights to heart. You can hear down there. People take their they take their red, white, and blue seriously, and that's pretty much it. They're not hostile or anything. They just, we're the United States of America, and we have something to be proud of. So that's it on the 4th of July. Hi, Barnyard Chicken. And as I said, that's why we can all celebrate and not have to worry about all of the things that other countries that are coming along have to worry about. It's, you know, and there are some people who, even in our country, I'm not telling you it's perfect, and you know, but when you, at the end of the day, it's still the best game in town. As far as what's been going on here, if you, there's about a 6-minute video on our station, on our channel, that's showing you the last of the 27 nukes we put in. That's what we've been doing ever since we put those nukes in. We had them in our vehicles. Well, that was, you know, we had them all in our vehicles, and, you know, they were secure in the nukes. We brought them back, and then we had to get them all in the bee yard. And as I said in the video, Bee Man was very well organized. He had boxes. He took cardboard boxes, and then he had boxes in there, like deep boxes and whatnot. And he had the frames. He had boxes of pollen. He had boxes of frames with honey. He had boxes of new frames. He had, there was some boxes of drawn out comb. And, you know, depending on who you listen to on the internet, some people go, well, don't give them that. Just give them all new comb, and don't do that. Don't do this. Well, the beekeeper, who's Chautauqua Apiary, who he doesn't get into honey. All he does is he's getting into making his queens the best in the area. And I think he's just about there. He works with queens, I'm trying to think, from Minnesota and from Vermont, and some famous beekeepers, which I don't, published beekeepers, I don't recall their name right now. But, you know, those that are varroa mite resistant or weather resistant and everything else. All of the nukes that we have been made it through the winter. And I could just tell by opening up the packages that, or not the packages, but the nukes, that these bees were different. These bees were raring to go. I mean, the nukes were just full of honey and brood. And, you know, they say, and as I said in the other stream, I'm not a champion of drone hive or drone brood, but they had drone and worker, and it is said that the sign of a healthy hive is to have both of those. So that was a real eye-opener for me. But we took them all down, and then within 7 days, because, you know, you check everything after 7 days, well, lo and behold, 7 of them immediately, you know, Bee Man had to put on another box because they were out of room. I think all of them as of today, which would be just about 7, maybe 12 days, I'm not sure, have boxes and have been going through feeders. We are using a 1-to-1 sugar mix, you know, 1 cup of sugar to 1 cup of water, and an additive of Honeybee Healthy. Is it Honeybee? Honeybee Healthy, which has all these enzymes and things in it, to get our hives roaring before we have to pack them up for the winter. And thank goodness this winter our hives will be low. I watched a video by, I think it's the Fat Bee Man, who said that you want your hives to be low in the winter, because otherwise, like, think of a 2-story house or a 3-story house. In the wintertime, you're not going to heat the upper floors. You're going to keep all your heat in one area. So that made sense to me. So we're going to do that. And, you know, something else we've done different this year is we have screen top inner covers. Like, we have the outer cover, and then we swapped out all our solid inner covers with screen inner covers. And as I've said several times, that was Jerome Bee Farms who suggested that. And seeing these temperatures now, I'm thankful that we did that. So I'm hoping that helps. One thing we adhere to, which there's pros and cons about, are the bottom boards of our hive are solid or screen. plants are screened. And the thing about that is when it rains, maybe, the jury's out on this one. The positive side is that the airflow goes from, up and around the hives, like up the bottom, the screen, and there's a screen on top, so they have more of an airflow when they're fanning to keep it cooler in the summer. The downside is if you have a downpour of rain, if you have it on grass or anything, it's going to get wet, and then if it gets really hot really fast, that steam and or moisture will go up in your hive. So it's, it's a trade-off. After thinking about it, I'm a little more comfortable with the screens. Hi, Oak Camp Ranch. Oh, northwestern Arizona. You must be really hot down there. I don't know if we're in a dearth or a honey flow. I have no idea what we're in. I don't think like that with new nukes. My goal is to just feed them, and if there are tons of plants around now, remember we're on 19 acres. We don't use any chemicals. We let our like our goldenrod in the field, which is like just about an acre and a half. We let that go nuts, and anything else over there. Also over here, there's a large spot of goldenrod. We let everything stay natural. Anything you hear like popping and stuff, they're far away by a couple hundreds of feet, but it's the 4th of July, so they're having a good time. But we let everything stay natural so that our bees can get as much as possible. Our fruit trees, everything. It's just for the bees. We have a pretty good berry garden over there with blackberries and blueberries. We have strawberries, the ever-bearing, so they go all summer for the bees. And like right now, our peppers and our beans are blooming. So and our squash. So those for the bees. One thing that we're fighting is that because we have a lot of our plants in containers that stand up, to make them, especially like the lettuce and other things that the little bunny rabbits go for, they're drying out in like 2 hours. So, and the heat is just baking them. So we're having some issues with those. I think there's a break in the weather in 2 days or 3 days. So that should help that. And even now, as I speak, we have a sprinkler going on the blackberries over there. Just a lot of watering. We're doing a lot of watering, hoping that the grass turns brown, so we don't have a lot of mowing. But it's hard on the plants. And the fruit trees, will water them after. It's just water. We tend to water everything. But getting back to our bees, as of right now, we're waiting for our chicken feeders. We took the advice of a couple of people in chat last week, and we tried where you use the pails and flip them upside down, and the suction prevents the water from coming out. You drill the holes in it. That I showed you that. That worked, except we had to put little tiny stones around the ridge, so the bees would have something to stand on so they don't drown. And I wasn't real happy with that. Also, you can only fill it so high, or else the liquid's going to come out of where the handles are. So we have some chicken feeders, waterers, that will be here in 2 to 3 days, and load up the bottom with stones so the bees have something. It was, to stand on, and then fill those with our water. Hi, Homestead, remember. Hi, Michelle, North Carolina. Good to see you. So that's what we're doing for the bees. And on 10 of them, because we have our 10 original Boardman feeders, because as you know, we started with 10 hives. So we dug those out. We have those on what we consider to be the smallest hives and or the least busiest, therefore probably the weakest hives. And we just fill those back up after, just a few days. So they're really taking the sugar water. I don't know. If there is, like I was going to say earlier, if there is if there are a lot of plants that they don't drink the sugar water. They'll just let it sit there. We've had that experience. They won't take pollen patties. They won't take anything. They'll just let it sit there, and they'll go for the real deal. Hi, Sweet Forest. Good to see you. They'll just go for the real deal. So to back ourselves up, we just keep feeding them and feeding them and feeding them. Installing them was not that difficult. It was labor intensive because we had 27 and we were working against the sun. You know, these nukes are sitting in the sun and they're heating up. And you really don't want that because then when you open them, they're like, hey, you know, we're hot in here. And it's, whoa. But even so, they weren't aggressive for the most part. They're pretty good natured. And they're definitely, they seem bigger to me, and they're definitely down to business. Anyway, where we got them, he is going to Arizona, I forget when, to the last part of his queen lessons, whatever, for the insemination of a queen, and then we're good to go. But, you know, I feel really good about them. But, you know, you kind of get a feel about the bees that you're getting, and I got a really good feel. I mean, all of them just, you know, they're doing. I mean, you just kind of get a good feel. All the queens are laying and laying and laying. I mean, you just really get a good feel about it. So that's where we are with our bees. And we're hoping for a little break in the weather. It makes it easier to take care of them. And, you know, they have the pond right there, so they have plenty of water. I'm not worried about water. But it does make it a little easier. It's cooler. But it has to be done. You know, it's something that you can't just leave them down there. So we're monitoring all the time. Hey, sweetie. It's my little doggy. Also, we have the other hives that we're maintaining from before. And one of them, I don't know, it looks like it probably can be split. Which is, oh, is it? Okay. Hubby says my volume is low. Let me turn this up. It's up as high as it will go here. Anyway, I did see on the Fat Man, the fat beekeeper, the fat man beekeeper, what have you, his ways of treating varroa mites are, yeah, that's because they're shooting off firecrackers over there and she can hear them. Maybe time for a follow-up, Zuki. Yeah. Oh, Zuki. If I could get her up here, I'd share her. She's because of all the noise around with the celebrations. But he said one way was to break the 21-day cycle of the varroa mites, so you keep splitting your hives. I have some questions about that because, you know, well, really not too much, but you got to break your hives systematically to get rid of the cycle, you know, of the mites, and then at some point you have no mites. To me, in a large size bee yard, you're going to get mites from drifting, which is, you know, bees going to the wrong hive or the neighboring hive. I don't know how you're not going to get them, but hopefully that will work a little bit. What was the other thing? Oh, treating them was another one. And the other one that he doesn't really recommend that much is the powdered sugar, where you're sprinkling the powdered sugar on and they groom themselves and they get the mites off. However, the powdered sugar, if, you know, goes straight through your hive, especially if you have a screen bottom board. Hey, Zook. My name is Zookie. And then you have an ant problem. So, you know, it's, you know, bees are quirky, you know, and managing their hives is quirky. So, you know, it is what it is. You just do the best you can do. And I hope everybody out there, let's see, who was that? Oh, there you go. Oh, bees have mites. Is it Michelle? Michelle, you know, some folks have said, oh, I don't see the mites. You don't want to see the mites. I have had in a class I had to open a hive that had not been opened, oh dear, in 7 months. These hives hadn't been open in 7 months. And you could see the mites crawling on the bees, literally. And the wings, a lot of the wings were like eaten, and it was really kind of sad. But they had like 7 boxes and they were full. So, I mean, these bees were like in honeybee heaven. They were, they were like in the middle of all these fruits and berries and this and that. And so it really didn't matter, if they had mites. Hi, Tammy, good to see you. It really didn't matter if they had mites. They were survivalists, but they were, but like I said, they were overrun with mites. All bees have mites. I don't remember the year that mites came to our country, but I want to say in the 70s or 80s. But if you have a bee, you got mites. That's just it. So you have to treat for them in the fall. Ideally, when you are when you are getting ready up here. This is what I'll say for up here. Getting ready to pack them away for the winter. Okay, he's telling me about suits, whatever. So what we don't want to see are wax moths or hive beetles. We don't like wax moths, which is basically a moth. And they get in. Stronger hives can take care of them, but hives just starting out, you got the moths trying to take over, and you got the bees trying to take over, and it gets to be a battle. Same with the hive beetles. I had never seen a hive beetle before until we got 3 nukes from Louisiana. So now the bees that we have, the nukes that we got this year are from Chautauqua County, which is the southern tier. Beautiful down there, absolutely beautiful. Like I said on the video, when I got back, when we were coming back, I said, "Oh, Mark, we have to move. Feels like we're in the city, really, and we're kind of remote out here." So, rural, yeah. So, I just, bees have rural mites, but the hive beetles are relatively easy to treat. The wax moths, you just got to get them out of there and then freeze your frames. Trying to think. Some beekeepers we know say that the mice are a problem this year. We've seen a few. I think there were 1 and 2. We had some boxes when we were setting up for our new nukes where the mice thought they were for them, and B-Man had to get rid of those. But anybody have any questions about bees? Because we've got 30 hives down there, so we're having a ball. The goal is to keep them all alive and get them to the winter. But as you know, if you're a beekeeper, you're going to lose some bees. And I say that hesitantly, like, no, not my bees, but it's what happens. Which one of these is lower? There we go. It happens. You could do everything that you think you're doing right, and they'll take off. We try to watch for that. As we mentioned in our classes several months ago, you bring out a frame, you see a queen cell on the bottom. To me, you have a few choices. You can take that frame, especially if it has brood on it, and put it in a nuke. We have a 2 nuke box that we're going to put back there, and start a nuke so that they don't have a queen now, and then put another box, on top. But you've taken like a frame of bees and a frame of brood and some honey and stuff, And the worker bees, because you're taking a frame of worker bees, they can continue to care for that queen cell once you know she's in there and it's all closed up, and feed her and get her through so that you can have what's called a nuke, and you start another little nuke so that you have your own nuke. Hi, Noah. Good to see you, Noah's Ark. So those are your options. And since we have this super duper two nuke box, I'm hoping that somebody does something down there. You know, it's the hives. And or we get a swarm. Last week, I don't know if I have my paper still here. I gave you, we went over the 2 ways to get a swarm. Anybody? I don't know. One was the item that you get if you weren't here. I can't find the paper now. One was the item that you get from Honey Bee Healthy, and you get 2 for like $7.99. They can't guarantee anything, but pretty much guarantee to get you a swarm. Remember, you have to, thanks, Noah's Ark. You have to remember to, you gotta know what you're doing. Know what you're doing to go get a swarm. Or take someone with you that knows what they're doing. Or you're just a risky person and you don't want to get a hive and you're going to go get one. Well, we didn't tell you to go do it, but let us know how you make out, because it's not rocket science, but I'm not advocating it. And then the other way was to, and I'm going on memory now, folks, get rags and melt down the wax or whatever from an old bee frame and put your rag in there, like, some rags, and somehow get it in a tree. Take a ball of twine, throw it over a limb, tie the twine to a rope so that you have the rope. You're going to bring back the rope. Then tie the rag to that so when the bee swarm gets on it, theoretically, you can lower it into your hive box. Anyway, I forget the name of that, but it's on last week's stream. I'll try to remember to put it in the description this week, because last week I did put in Chautauqua Apiary. I don't know what else I put in. I don't know. The 2 swarms we've got, they've been on a limb. We cut the limb and do it that way. But, and like I said, there are some people out there. I know if you're in Georgia and you need someone to get bees out of your home or something, you may want to drop Big Bear Homestead a line, because several years ago he had a trapping. That's what he did, trapping. He can trap anything. Okay, and he can get it like I don't want to say he will, but he's clever. Like, we wouldn't take apart your floor or anything like that, because we wouldn't know how to put it back together. Okay, but at least I would contact him if you had a problem about that. So let's see. Was there anything else I was going to go over? No questions? No. How odd, no questions. Ooh. Anyway, was there anything else I was going to talk about? See, he knows. Is there anything else I was going to talk about? American Pop Republic. What is he talking about? Oh, how long have we been raising bees? This is our 6th year? 6 years. 2 years before we got our first bees, I read about them. I didn't go to YouTube. I just got books. I read and I read and I read. And I read. And I talked to people. The year we were going to get them, we started with 10. But before we got our nukes, we started with nukes. Way before, we joined a bee club. And one of the first meetings we went to, well, not meetings, but they have like different things. They bring in authors and they have different seminars and stuff. We went to the one where you see an actual hive, see how to work a smoker, uh, stuff like that, and watch him open the hive, which you're going to see when you open it. And that was really good because a lot of people, they watch it on YouTube and they're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to see bees, whatever. But I'm going to tell you, um, it's not that you can't do it that way, but it's really good to have like a hands-on and have somebody right there so you can be right there in person and see what these bees are doing. Okay, to watch it on a video or something, and then you open them up, and it's like, okay, it's a little bit different. So we strongly recommend, even if you're not going to stay in the bee club, just go there and get your basics first, because you're going to talk to people. And like us, you're going to find that no two beekeepers are in agreement of anything except bees have mites. Hi, Mud Pie Girl. Good to see you. My husband and I don't agree on how to take care of our own bees. We very seldom do we agree. I'll say okay. I'll give them that. Women will appreciate it. I'll just go okay like that, and he'll go okay, whatever you want to do. Well, we don't agree, not at all, on how to handle our bees. Some things like sugar water is going to be sugar in water, but you know, uh, we're both avid researchers. We both. Oh, it is interesting. Noah's art. We both have backgrounds in education, and we both look at the other person like, and now it's at the point where if he comes up with something, I'll say, where'd you get that from? Send me the link. Because I want to see it. I want to read it. And vice versa. I have to show him where I got it and where I read it. And, a couple of questions I'll ask him, which you may want to ask somebody is, okay, say you saw it on YouTube, you saw a link, you saw this, you saw that. Well, what climate are they in? Where are they in the country? What time of year were they talking about? I don't remember, but it's a good idea. Fine. I'm like a typical female, not that males aren't, but when, well, let me just say, the females that I know are very detail oriented. They want the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, and why. Okay. Who, what, really, without those five, nah, we're not going to go for it. Right. Mud Pie Girl's right. We want to know why, where, who, and what, and then what happened, you know, and, because I don't know if men think like that, I don't know. Maybe they do. I don't know. He's saying our 5th year. I'm saying our 6th year. We don't agree on that. I'll have to go in there and correct him. Very rarely, he likes to smoke them really light. Smoke, 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 puff, puff, puff. I like to smoke them until they figure out that they have to stand down so that Bee Lady can do what she has to do. And, oh, now he's going to give me the year. See? See there? Yeah, okay. Yeah, right. 2014. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, well, there might be a correction next week because I'm going to be going through some records too. 14, 15, 16. Well, 14 to 18. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I don't know about that. I don't know, B-Man. 2014. I don't know. I have to go back. I have ways of checking this. I'll go back and see. I'm not sure about that. He has a lapse of memory. But, so we don't agree, and because we have, you're standing there, we have to do something. I find that women tend to go a lot on their instincts, like something doesn't feel right. Oh, here we have 2014 written on top of a Really? Maybe that's the year we started writing it, dear. Is that the year we started writing it on there? I think that might be. I'm going to find out. Don't worry. Anyway, we, and like I say, we started with 10, and some years we've done everything. We've lost them. What the funniest thing I have to say that happened was my husband. He goes down there a lot. Like when I'm not with him, like he'll say, "I'm gonna go down there and and get a look," and I go, "Well, wait a minute." He'll go, "No, I'm just gonna look," and I'm like, He went down, he came back. He said, "I saw the strangest thing." And I said, "What's that?" He said, "A queen bee outside a hive walking around on the cement block." I said, "Well, what hive did she go to?" Well, I don't know. So I don't remember the follow up, but like I said, we've done a lot of things. We mainly, following with things like joining and splitting and starting nukes and things like that. Um, I have to say, B Man is little bit ahead of me. I gotta let him have something, ladies. Other things like feeding, where to put stuff in the boxes, how the bees are doing, looking at them, making a judgment, I have to say is more in my court. So, it kind of goes like that. And then, but now we're at the show me where you got it. And that seems to work. And so far, so good. Let's see. We garden differently. But that's the fun of it. I'll say, berries need water. And he'll say, "Well, I gave him an hour and a half yesterday." And I go, "Yeah, that's true." But see, I don't think of just the roots. I think of the actual berries, which I could be right or I could be wrong. I'm just going on a hunch, a feeling. Hi, Mega Fred Zeppelin. Good. Hi. Oh, we're having fun. And we're gonna be safe. We have some sparklers. Oh my goodness, they're like big, like I don't know, 8 feet, really big ones. So we're ready with those. Yeah, we're gonna rock on. Yep. Thank you. Um, feeding plants. We don't. I mean, things like that. I learned many, many years ago, like with your tomatoes, like how you see these beautiful tomatoes, and you'll go over and the bottom is black, and they call it black rot. That's from the plant not having water. A lot of people don't realize not only do you have to water the the root, you have to water the actual tomato plant. And a lot of these things like strawberries and tomatoes and squash and cucumbers and berries, they're 90% water. So they're going to get the water from the leaves or if they don't get enough, the berries are going to be, bleh, and it's. So, like, I really watered the strawberries again today, heavy. I'll probably do it again tonight because it's so hot. Yeah, we have 2014 written on top of our earliest frames. Um, I do think if you're in a relationship, there's the cutest little couple in our bee club, and young kids, they get their bees through the winter and all this, everything. And it's amazing. They're like, "Oh, we just put a little of this on there and a little of that on there and packed them up and we're good to go." So that's pretty much how it goes. Um, but I think it's good if you have somebody with you, so you have somebody for feedback. Very rarely are you going to get into a full blown argument. It really doesn't happen. I shouldn't say never. It doesn't happen with us because the goal of both of us is to do what's best for the bees. It's just like children. What's best for your children. Uh, you don't always agree on that. Maybe it just depends on if it's a daughter or son. But you both have your own uh, ways of taking care of the bees. So what's the best way? And the goal is to keep them alive. So, I don't know. It's fun. I wish everybody could keep bees for um, some time. I might end early. It's not really early. It's 9 o'clock. So it is time for me to go. I'm going to say bye to Instagram first. Boy, that watched good. Say, share. Where am I sharing? There you go. So thanks everybody for coming by. I need to get this up on YouTube. Oh, did you? Yeah. I love sparklers. I absolutely love them. And they're legal here in New York now. So we have some really good ones. And I'm excited about that. So everybody have a nice 4th. Find some fireworks or watch them on TV. They're going to be shooting them off. Boston, I think traditionally the Boston Pops Orchestra is playing. They have them going to music, the fireworks. Or I don't know where else they have them. I don't know if Washington's having them. Hey, Two Family, we're just ending here. So, go enjoy your fireworks. We're going to get our sparklers out. Like I said, we got the long ones. I forget how long they are, 8 feet, some insane length. Saying, have a great night. That's B-Man. He's manning it. Okay, everybody, night. And we will see you next week. Now I have to figure out right here, edit the beginning, and this will be up. Okay? Oh, that's a terrible glare. Gotta get no glares. Okay, where's my mouse? Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. Good night, everyone.